Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday live stream. I am joined today by my buddy, Jerry V. Hall. Jerry, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is one of those weekends where, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, it's just a time when things are really going down, and more down. If we take a look at, of course, the price action, it's been, yesterday was, I think, the worst day. Today, we're kind of stable at around 77.3 and dropping. We might go below 77, might get to 76K. And we can see what's happening. There was a massive sell-off, gold and silver market. And then, of course, what's open 24/7, 365? Well, it's digital assets. And I think people are covering their calls, covering their options. Massive liquidation yesterday, 2.5 billion. We covered all that stuff. But today, I want to talk about just how low we can go. Before we get into it, Jerry, bring us back to when you first got into crypto and your first big drawdown, and how did you go about that, and how did you rectify it?
Okay, I don't know if I ever rectified it, or maybe I did. So my first experience was the explosion of November 2017. Bitcoin and XRP and some of these other, Ethereum, they just exploded. And I remember I was learning about investing. I was heavily into cannabis stocks, Canadian cannabis stocks. And so watching CNBC, the financial news, being in that orbit, I watched the ascent of Bitcoin, and I thought to myself initially, what is this? And oh my goodness, look at it. Look at what it's doing. This is insane. And so by February of 2018, I started investing as it was coming down. And I rode that entire valley all the way down to the low of December of 2018, where it was, I think, settled around $3,500 for one Bitcoin.
Ooh. Say that again. Say that one more time. What was that?
3,000. Like, I bought my very first Bitcoin in December of 2018 for $3,500.
Wow, crazy.
And I remember thinking, it was so clear to me after spending a year in the descending market, but studying it, right? Studying this space. And it was so clear to me that it was the future. And I just didn't understand why it was getting beat up so bad from a market perspective. And I was getting all the answers. There is no regulation. There is no adoption by TradFi. There is no this, there is no that. And I remember thinking, okay, well, if it ever gets those things, it should just absolutely explode. And so that's what kept me was thinking that when the world could understand what I understood, this would be a no-brainer. Everybody would put some of it in their portfolio. That businesses would build on top of the technology because it was stronger, better, faster, smarter.
Sure.
All of those things, it just made sense to me that this new technology, its time had come. And so I guess that's how I reconciled it, was just like those people did in the 80s with the computer revolution, right? When computers leapt from university rooms where they were 6-foot tall servers to, a big box on your desk, right? Not everybody adopted it right away. Same with the internet. Who needs cat pictures?
I need cat pictures.
Well, a lot of people did, and look what that's turned into. And so I just had those other technological waves to help me reconcile the pitfalls of what was happening in the crypto space back then.
Yep. You know what? And it's a good timely story, because, and what you just said about how you rectified it, and you thought to yourself, well, the technology will catch up, people will understand. They were like, hey, guess what? Maybe I don't have to write a letter. I can just do this crazy thing called an email. Maybe I don't have to go rent a VHS. Maybe I can just do this crazy thing called Netflix. It's it's the same thing over and over again. It's just that right now the price doesn't reflect the technology, and that's here we are. As everybody knows, 2017, 2018 came about. I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense. It should go up. Didn't go up. Went all the way through 2021. Okay, we should go higher. Didn't go higher. 2022 collapse, and here we are again doing the same thing as we always do. And then there's this overall feeling. Again, I can feel it. I can sense it in the comment section. I know the people that are here. Some of you have been here for a long time, and some of you have not. And it feels like this is the end of the world, but it isn't. And we're going to go over that today. So let's talk about some things. First of all, maybe there's a super banana awesome zone cycle coming. I don't know. But if it does, great. And we'll all be just fine. But if it doesn't, here's what I need you guys to prepare for. I know people don't believe in the 4-year cycles as much as they used to, and I understand why, because, you say, well, that makes no sense, especially we should just go through business cycles. That's what'll dictate things, which is true, but it's the same thing as like self-fulfilling prophecies and moving averages, which we talked about. I will say, it's just a little backup, from an all-time high to an all-time high, it's amazing how things repeat, patterns. I think it was Jimmy Foss, I forget who it was, that talked about the power of patterns. And if you can just find these patterns, this is the thing that will actually, push you and propel you. And look, all-time highs to all-time highs, whether you believe it or not, if 2026, if we get an all-time high, maybe. But from 2013 to 2017, it took 1,477 days. November 29, 2013 to December 15, 2017. And from 2017 to 2021, it took 1,424 days. And then from 2021 to October 6, 2025, it took 1,428 days. That's all-time high to all-time high. All-time low to all-time high, well, from 2015 to 2017, it took 1,068 days. All-time low of 2018 and 2021 took 1,060. And all-time low of 2022 to 2025, 1,062. It's amazing how this thing just kind of keeps going and going. Now, the all-time high to all-time low, it's anybody's guess. So if we want to talk about how low can things go, we talked about this yesterday briefly, the percentage drawdown from its all-time high. 2013, we had an all-time high of 1,000. It didn't take too long to drop down 50%. It took a couple of months or so, and we dropped 50. But then throughout that year in 2014, we actually went down 83% for the low. And that was the 2013-2015 cycle. In 2017, in December, in a couple of months or so, we went down 41%. Actually, excuse me, 2 months, went down to almost 60%. And then people are asking like, hey, is there any kind of like recourse or a bounce? Yeah, there was. We actually had like a little relief rally in March, and it was only down 43%. But then eventually it dropped down to 82% again. And 2021, actually over here, we had a drop of almost, 45%. And it took roughly a couple months. Then there was a relief rally, and it was only down 30%, and then it dropped down 77%. Actually, in this one, it just says 75%. So as of right now, you are right here. You were down 38%, not even the 45%, and roughly about the same time. So where do we go? I think we go lower. And if we're thinking about it, 50%, 60%, you're looking at a 60K Bitcoin, somewhere around there, which, interesting enough, if you take a look at the moving averages, the reason why I still look at the 4-year cycle is because I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think Jerry's right about business cycles. Well, Jerry and the other guys who talk about it. But it's just there's something about this psychological trap that people are in. And moving averages are the same damn thing. If we take a look at these moving average, everybody's talking about this 200-week moving average, which puts us down to roughly $58,000 Bitcoin. So I'm going to make a prediction. Ready? Bitcoin, by the end of this year, will be somewhere between $350,000 and I'll give you an honest one. It's going to be somewhere around $60,000, I think, and $300,000. And I think anything below 70K is a pretty good time for me to buy, and maybe yourself, I don't know. But Jerry, that was a long analysis. I apologize for that. What do you think about all that stuff? And I do believe with you on that business cycle. It does make a lot of sense.
You know, I'll tell you, I'm of the school that a tremendous amount of the world is going to adopt this technology that hasn't adopted yet, which means regardless of the price, whether it's 65,000, 58,000, or 97,286, it's a good time to acquire Bitcoin if I'm thinking 10 years and beyond, right? If I'm thinking about an asset that I want to hold for the next 10 years, which is generally in the past only been relegated to Coca-Cola stock and real estate, right?
Yeah.
As far as long-term holdings. I think that's a pretty sound thing. And these are really good prices in that context, right? If I believe that 1 billion, 2 billion people will be in this asset in 10 years, then the 400 million that are here right now, or 500 million that are here right now, we're all going to benefit greatly with that adoption and expansion of the asset class. So it's kind of like, I get it. We can put a lot of energy into the market gyrations that are happening right now. And if you're a trader, nothing I said helped you. And I apologize for that. I'm not, you know what I mean? Maybe there's definitely other people to tune into for that kind of stuff. But as an investor, this is still an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. It's just time. And it's a funny thing because like just, a year ago, everybody was saying, how this is the future and how, we take a look at the precious metals, the golds, the silvers, and just take a look at it and say, it's just such old technology. We're going to move past that. And then all of a sudden, once the price starts to bubble up, then people are like, maybe gold is the best thing of all time. Anyhow, it's up for everybody to decide. Me personally, like I said, I have a little gold in my IRA. I don't really get into it like that, so I'm not going to just jump ship now because it's the hot new thing. One thing I can rest assured is that retail will go after the hot new shiny object, and there's nothing more shiny than gold. And when they get into that, and they might do well, but I just think it's like, why wouldn't you have a little bit of that for like a balanced portfolio? I just believe there's more upside for Bitcoin, and I'll just kind of stick with that. Same thing that Jerry says. Let's see. And then before we move on, like this comment, Superflow says, hi, my name is Brian. Hello, Brian. And I'm a crypto addict. Hello, Brian. And I'm down over $200,000 because I ignored my own technical analysis and listened to BS news. And it's not just the news. I think it's the promise of, the great bounce back and the great price predictions that are out there. And of course, just hang with us. And again, these could still happen. I mean, we're only in, what is the day? Day the 1st?
February 1st.
It's February 1st. So this is important that we, realize where we're at. So that's just it. And I know it seems like it's the worst thing, but it can always get worse. Let's take a look at this one. Jerry, I sent this over to you, and I think as things start breaking down and the price goes crazy, you get stuff like this. Here's why Bitcoin is dumping. Binance sold 12,000 Bitcoin, Kraken sold 14,000, Coinbase sold 7, Wintermute 66, Insiders 53. They just dumped 2.8 billion during low liquidity hours. This is coordinated manipulation. It's not so much that it's manipulation, and I think people like to throw that word out a lot. It's not. I mean, there obviously is manipulation going on in some of the precious metals market, and of course there's a little bit of manipulation going on in our market. We can't deny that. But I think really what it comes down to is people have to sell off because they just got dumped on in metals market, or like Jerry, like you were talking about, the yen carry trade and what's going on in Japan. People are getting squeezed, and they have to get this from somewhere. And it's not just manipulations. Like people like, hey, I made a bunch of money over here. I'm going to have to take some profits and then pay out these guys over here. So anyhow, what's your thoughts? I sent this to you, Jerry. What do you think about this one?
Well, there are often large pools of capital that have mandates, right? They are obligated by the internal policy of their whatever their thing is to do A, B, and C. And so we talked about this maybe 4 months ago, about 4 or 5 months ago, when we talked about looking at old wallets, right? These very long-standing wallets that were selling into the market, right?
Yeah.
Wallets that had been holding these Bitcoins for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? And here's the thing: we can't begrudge anybody for taking a profit. And when I just looked at that list of people that sold Bitcoins, I'm thinking to myself, they have operating costs, they have investors, they have to, they have a fiduciary right to make, to give a return on investment. There may be R&D or expansion things that are underway that we're not aware of. And again, when Bitcoin goes from 90 grand into the high 70s and you're a believer, it's an opportunity. This is a great thing. I don't understand why people are bummed unless they had some kind of long on that just got wiped out. Then I would understand. Oh, I made a leverage long play. I just had my little tuchus handed to me. I'm not happy.
I'm not too happy. Yeah, that's just how it is. And that, I mean, it's normal. That's how it goes. So anyhow, I got to agree with you on this one. I mean, it's just going to take a little bit of time. I know it feels awful, but I remember the same thing in 2018, 2022, and everything just repeats. So there it is. Oh, also, before we get into the Q&A, I wanted to bring a nice little rumor, because, we like to do a little entertainment here. And hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. So this is over at Bitcoin News. I like this one. Jilted lover accuses Justin Sun of fraud. If you don't know who Justin Sun is, he is the head guru, head CEO, creator of
Tron.
One of the best, I should say, Binance, Ethereum, Solana, and Tron. And he, unfortunately, scorned an ex. Xing Yang, also known as Ten, a Chinese media professional, has publicly accused Tron founder of large-scale market manipulation and fraud. This is what we would call the cheese bank. This is, of course, just rumors, but it is kind of fun here and there. Zhang says she was Sun's girlfriend during the early Tron years and claims she possesses evidence that he used the identities and phones of multiple employees to register numerous Binance accounts. Jerry, before we go on, does this surprise you at all?
No.
Anyhow, she's alleged these accounts were used to coordinate buying and selling to artificially inflate Tron's price. This was in late 2017, early 2018. And then she goes on to say how he shouldn't have this different integration with the current United States administration and the presidency, and how he actually donated a bunch of money to Trump, and that's why he has all this favoritism. And it's a very good story, very entertaining. And of course, this is what they're saying as far as Tron, the early days to get up to where it's at right now. Jerry, thoughts on this before we close out and do a little Q&A?
I remember, it seems like every year there's an article written about some extremely large fine JP Morgan is paying for the silver market manipulation they get caught in every year, or the real estate fixing that BlackRock is doing. I mean, it is a long-standing tradition of business, whether legal and regulated or not, that there will always be people that try to game the system. Always. I get it. I understand it. I don't have the courage or the resources to do it myself, but I can't say that I would be morally above it if the opportunity did not present itself and I thought I could get away with it.
I get away with it. Yeah, exactly. I would just say I could easily
see Justin on the phone with 15 of his buddies, making a couple of million over the weekend by doing some shady, weird stuff. It's totally feasible.
Totally feasible. And that was the early days, 2017, 2018. That's why, like, on-chain analysis, I'm very speculative of that, and I kind of don't trust most of it. Because if you look at what's going on right now with AI and, say, Claudebot, or whatever they call it now, and how they're able to spin up AI agents at a whim, and it can just really overwhelm systems. How many times can you do that and actually bring into, like, I don't know, create a new wallet, or I don't know, start to swap back and forth between wallets, as if that's not happening already. There are some of these, and I will say it, in the top 20 that are doing these types of bot actions, moving things back and forth to inflate numbers back to all-time highs as far as, you know, transactions. That on a lot of this on-chain analysis, it's very hard to believe. Anyhow, that's what we have for altcoins. Answer everybody's questions. How low can we go? I still see the numbers in the 50Ks for Bitcoin. I still think that anything below 70K is a pretty good deal. I don't think we're going to go to 30K or 20K or 10K like some people are talking about. That seems a little bit crazy. And as long as we have current administration pushing it, and we've got this guy named Larry Fink, I don't know if you've heard of him, big into BlackRock, CEO, largest asset manager on the planet just about, and of course nation states, and also Michael Saylor buying up like crazy. We're not going to go that low. Just here we are. Anyhow, that's it for today, everybody. Like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. Now let's get into a little Q&A. You can ask Jerry any question you want to, and he'll answer anything. Here's one. Well, it's just a statement. I wish I never spent a dime on alts. Hey, Jerry, before we go, would you, like, as the price starts really dropping, I think alts are going to drop even harder. What is the #1 alt you're looking at?
If my son asked me that question, what should be the #1 alt I should look at, I would say Ethereum.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell my son. For me personally, I have a longer view, and I think Cardano is positioning itself to start actually having products that are traditionally viable. In other words, when you have USDC on Cardano, which we all just saw the news, USDC-X, which is not a wrapper, it's actual USDC. And you start seeing applications like our friend at FlexPoint Studios, what he's doing with Talos and Atom, and the proof of inference protocol, which I think is going to, if it gets any kind of traction and crosses over into the world of AI and not just a crypto thing, I think there's some real traction to be had in receipts for AI agents. You know, nobody's really cracked that nut yet, and I think Nathaniel has. So this will be interesting to see.
Yeah,
the adoption he gets.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see, and like I hope Cardano starts to move, because, you know, if you're going to say, I will give Cardano this, they did not fudge any of their on-chain analysis numbers. They're like, hey, we're not doing too many transactions, and you can see it right here, and that's just the truth. So anyhow, so we got that. Buggin's got a good one. I don't think it's overvalued or undervalued, talking about probably Bitcoin. I think it doesn't know what it is right now. Is Bitcoin a store of wealth? Is it a store of value? Because it's not acting like a store of wealth. And that, I think, is a fair assessment. Now, if Michael Saylor was here, he'd probably get pretty ticked off, and he would say, well, of course, it is a long-term store of value. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's a hornet's nest, and it's going to take over the entire world. It's the greatest thing of all time, which I got to tell you, it's pretty good. As far as like a short-term store of wealth from like day to day, no, I don't think it is. Even like a 30-day. If you're using it as a store of wealth for 30 days, like let's say you got paid, like I talked about, $1,000, and you're in a third world country. Well, if you're in a third world country, you're probably not going to pay $1,000. Come on, Rob. I know that's what you people are saying. So let's say you get paid $50 for a whole month, and you lose 30%. Now you're down $35, and you lost 35% of your purchasing power in 30 days because of what's going on. It's not, for like a short term, it's not. Long-term store of wealth, store of value, I think it definitely is. But then you have to take a look at gold and silver, mostly gold, was always the gold standard for store of wealth, store of value. But I mean, look what just happened just this week. I mean, you just lost 10%. I would be super ticked off if I got sold that message and I said, okay, it's a store of wealth. This is great. I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put my entire life savings of $10 million. And you lost 10%. You're telling me you're not going to be like, what the hell happened? That store of value narrative. So I think right now everything's up in the air. Jerry, thoughts?
Again, I think anything out of context can be alarming, right? I learned when I started learning about financial literacy, one of the very first things I came to understand was that I needed currency to acquire goods and services in my day-to-day life. Right. And that anything that I wanted to store long-term was best kept outside of the world of currency and put into the world of assets. And I don't think anything has changed with that. I still think it doesn't matter if you're in Zimbabwe, Buenos Aires, Argentina, or in beautiful Puerto Rico or Costa Rica. I need currency to buy my goods and services. Therefore, I should have what I need to live in that liquid form of currency. It's only what I want to preserve should I move to assets. I would never take my entire $50 check for the week and put 40 of it into Bitcoin, hoping that I would make $5 on it for next Friday. That's very unsound money management.
True.
But if I wanted to keep $50 for 4 years, put it into Bitcoin, right? And I think all the math still holds true. Nobody's lost money on Bitcoin over a 4 consecutive year period of time, right? Wow. Nobody has lost money.
This is true so far. So we'll see if it holds up. I think we're still in that same, 4 years.
I think the math still holds true.
Math still holds true. All right. Oh, how about this one? This is a good question for Jerry. Jerry, do you have any hedges right now? Are you hedging your bet against, instead of going heavy into Cardano, you're like, you know what, I'm going to go into
100%. It's called ComputePortal.io, the company I'm building. There's never been anything I'm more clear about than the world needs more electricity, silicon chips, and value-producing software. And that stack of compute is my hedge against those other things.
I see you have a nice little website here.
Yeah, I encourage everybody, go create an account. Check it out. It'll be more robust as time goes on. We're just launching.
You know, I got to tell you, with this, I know you probably heard about this Claude bot or whatever they're calling it now, and they're saying, as far as like AI agents, to put it, instead of putting it onto your main computer, putting it onto like a Mac Mini. But apparently these Mac Minis are selling out because there's so many people doing it. So you might actually have a secondary market, Jerry, of just people who need like a secondary computer, like a little one like
Sure.
this.
Do you see those two behind me?
Yeah.
Yep. Those small mini computers are actually relatively powerful for their size, right? And their energy consumption.
Very nice. Well, there you go, everybody. What's it? ComputePortal.io. I gotta get that in the description. Oh, listen to this. Ryan says, sold all my EOS to buy Mac Minis.
Bet on yourself. There you go, Ryan. Good job.
Good job. First of all, how much is EOS even worth these days? What the? Man, it's been so long, I don't even recognize the logo. Well, it's only down 15.4%.
Wow. I remember when that was a $40 coin.
Remember those days?
I do. I think wasn't Brock
Pierce?
Yeah. Really, wasn't he one of the big names? It was supposed to be this incredible layer one, right? It was truly going to be the world's computer.
Yeah. It was supposed to be, and then Ethereum kind of said, well, we're going to be the world's computer. And of course,
Mac Mini, yes. So I just got, I'll tell you, Rob, I don't think I shared this with you. I just bought a setup from Asus where I got a GX10, which is literally their version of the NVIDIA Spark. So it's got a Grace Blackwell chip in it. And then I got a Asus Nook 14 Pro that is running as a controller. So I got like a super AI chip machine. It's about this big, tiny little thing, with a Nook 14 sitting on top of it that acts as the controller. And this thing, over 120 billion parameter model, just humming, and it doesn't even get hot. Like That's you great. Can touch it; it's not even warm. This thing it's just phenomenal. And that's what's running the FluxPoint Studio's entire AI is right there on that configuration.
Dude, things are going to change so much in the next month, 3 months, 6 months. AI, it scares the hell out of me, actually. That's a whole other show. It's a good one. Spiraling says, it hurts when you don't sell Bitcoin and lose all your potential profits. I got to tell you, there was a great story. So a friend of the show, Kranskinator, is here in Puerto Rico. He unfortunately came down for the tokenized Puerto Rico, which is a nice, huge, long sales pitch. And I was very not too impressed with that one. But we got to go to the animal shelter today and walk the dogs like we do every Sunday. And we were talking about it. And he was saying some of his big wins and losses. And this was a good one. We talked about this, Jerry. He had invested into the Metaland back when it was,
Decentraland.
Decentraland. And he had gotten this token, and he was supposed to be like the future. He bought roughly like I think he said 500, it might have been 5,000. But then it accumulated, and he did like a 10x. It was $54,000. And he said, this is too much, and he sold it. He sold it all. And this was back when, Decentraland was like this new great thing in the metaverse. And he said, but wouldn't you know it, 2 days later, Facebook changes their name to Meta. And it went straight to the moon. And he goes, I could not believe it as I was watching it. And he said, I thought that was the end of the story. But now that I look back at it, it was the best thing I ever did. Because whatever Decentraland is at, I don't even know what the hell is that.
It definitely ain't what it was in 2021, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. And I think, well, Jerry, it is up 2% today. So, yeah, you can see it.
What happened today?
Who knows? Probably some VC bot.
$4.65.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And he said, but looking back, he goes, it was the best thing I ever did. He goes, no, I didn't hit all the upside, but the worst thing would have been just round tripping bags. And I said, you know what? That's true. And it goes down to we talk about this, take some profits. I know it sounds ridiculous now, but at some point, profits will be there. Make sure you take them.
Yeah, my very best score ever in the history of my life was not planned at all. It was, for whatever reason, I was screwing around on Twitter at the time. I believe it was December 10th. And I saw a post from Brad Garlinghouse, and he stated, tomorrow, the SEC is filing a blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh my God, XRP, which I had been waiting for years to do something, had finally got up into that $1.25 realm, $1.50 realm. And I just sold every dollar of it, every single penny. I went to Coinbase, sold every single XRP. And the very next day, it came crashing down to about 15 cents within the next 3 days.
This is the hard. I think the hardest part of investing is taking profits. I think all of us can buy like crazy. All of us can do it. It's the ones that can actually, if you can DCA in, you can DCA out. It's just setting that up the right way. And like Jerry just talked about, and Krantz and his story, they did the right things. The right things at the right time. And as long as you can duplicate them, you should be good to go. All right, let's see what else we got. It was a good story. That's sad. Hey, have you heard about this one? Google put out Project Genie yesterday. You can make a game in about 5 minutes. That'd be cool. I'd like to make an updated version of Excitebike from Nintendo days.
Well, isn't Google Gemini? Yeah, Google Gemini. You're the one that started doing creating gems.
Yeah.
Google is an incredible company.
Dude. Yeah, this. Let's see. Like this was, you know, I created this. Well, it was actually I didn't do anything. Google Gemini did this. Just made this website for the animal shelter. Look at that. And then it scrapes all the data from other websites, puts the pictures in. Got a nice little, see, this is the thing. I've got a nice little AI agent right here. Let me see. Well, I'll do it later. But yeah, you can go there and ask it, say, hey, what kind of dog is the best for me? You tell it what it is, and it spits out which dog's the best. Pretty cool. All right. Oh, Jimmy gets me with this one. What about Flappy Bird 2.0? So, because of the NDA I signed, I can neither confirm nor deny I was ever a part of that trash project. So I can't speak to that, Jimmy. Good riddance. Let's see. Look at this. She says, some of you guys are a lost cause. Good luck with your alt bags. It's going to be a long winter. Hey, look. This is the truth. The ones that held, I remember Ethereum in like 2017, Jer, $1,000, goes down to $100 or like $10, whatever it was, and bounces right back to $5. I'll take it.
Yeah, I think we are, every passing year we are losing that kind of volatility. I think we'll still be more volatile than the stock market, right? The New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, what have you. I think we haven't lost all that yet, but it is amazing how the markets are compressing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, you know, here we are. There was one more thing. I like this one. Jerry, believe it or not, I'm still holding the Hypercycle tokens you gifted me almost a year ago.
I'm still holding all my Hypercycle stuff from my experience with them also. You are not alone.
Yeah, don't worry. I still have all my Tomato Coin tokens, so that's fine. Last one, Jerry, thoughts on Trump Media and Technology acquiring that plasma fusion company? I don't know what that is. And these new energy choices. This is a good one for you.
I think energy, hey, we need it. Energy is value. Energy is value. And whoever can actually produce a better mousetrap when it comes to creating that is going to do very well, because the world just needs more of it and more of it and more of it year over year. So good for them. I'm not that educated on plasma fusion itself. Most of everything I've been looking into is basically that good old fashioned, cold fusion type reactor, traditional stuff that we have known and loved. What the military has done with submarines and aircraft carriers, I hope that they can reproduce it for cities. And if so, we're going to be gold. But truth of the matter is, most likely it's going to be something from the sun. Right?
True.
Solar most likely will be the path of least resistance going forward.
Yeah, I just saw a post, and then we'll get out of here. I just saw a post from Elon. He said that, I think this is an old one, that China, over the last year has doubled their production of solar panels, and they're actually doing twice as much as all the countries combined.
Yeah.
So if you think that solar won't be a big thing, and especially if we can do what we talked about, launching satellites up, using them for AI data centers, and then using the sun to power everything, game over. Anyhow, that's it for today. Jerry, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. I love it. So everybody, like today's video, thumbs up, subscribe, follow Jerry on X, and that's it for this one. We'll see you in about a week. Adios.